WayneMadsenReports.com. He worked in submarine warfare before joining the National Security Agency, and he's written for some of the biggest publications in the country and, reports daily from Capitol Hill. Wayne Madsen, good to have you here. Thank you for coming on. Sorry we're behind a little bit tonight. We're having to kind of, focus in here as we get more and more guests on the time. But who are you calling for this election? What's your latest intel? What's your scoop on what really happened in Benghazi? We haven't talked to you in 3 or 4 months. It's good to have you back, Wayne. Yeah, we lost his audio. We'll try to get that potted up and see what happens.
Good to be with you, Alex.
Hey, good to have you. Good to have you with us. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm here.
Could you hear my lengthy question about?
Okay. Well, yes, I heard it, and I think it's too early to call this. This is going to be a close one because, as we've heard before, there's a lot of problems in voting. I think there's more problems in this election than we saw in 2008, and probably this is more like 2004. A lot of problems in Ohio with John Husted, the Secretary of State, Republican there. It looks like he's actually trying to become worse than Ken Blackwell was in 2004. I don't think we're going to really know the results of a lot of these states. Florida's too close. North Carolina's too close. And frankly, I saw NBC call and CNN call South Carolina. I think they called that too soon because I'm looking at the results from South Carolina. It's quite clear what I had been hearing earlier in the day that, these Christian fundamentalist leaders said, oh, okay, we've been telling you Mormonism is a cult, but, we've decided that it isn't now. Well, you should go vote for Romney. So these people were Pentecostal, Southern Baptist. Wayne,
I want to be able to hear what you have to say. We're going to put Wayne on hold. We had good Skype. It's degraded down to like transmitting from the forbidden zone. So we're going to reconnect with Wayne because I really want to hear what he has to say. But yeah, this is a very close election with fraud going on by both sides. I think we're seeing a clear image of that coming out. Obama has now admitted he has a concession speech ready. That is some breaking news out of CBS. Obama has a concession speech ready. AP expressing confidence but leaving nothing to chance, including having a concession speech ready. President Barack Obama indulged his superstitions by engaging in a tradition of Election Day basketball game with friends as the race that will determine his political future was finally in the hands of the voters. And what they do here is they imply that the puppet, Obama, Romney, is really concerned here and doesn't know what's going to happen. And I guess when the fraud's this bad, they don't even know. I mean, it's just whoever can snatch and grab and run the most networks and announce who the winner is, then have people can, accept it and then have the Supreme Court say, and then that's the end of it. Do we have Wayne Madsen back? We do have audio back of Wayne. Wayne, start over. You're saying very close election, and we have seen a flip-flop by the Christian evangelicals. Now they have been supporting Lord Romney. But, I mean, I just see it as two different types of poison. Either one is just another front man for the globalist. Your take on that, Wayne?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And the reason I think I'm at the National Press Club and everybody's hogging up the Wi-Fi here. So that's why we're having some problems. Big crowd here tonight. But I don't think we're going to know because Ohio is like Ken 2004. Blackwell was the Secretary of State, Republican in 2004, was involved in a lot of fraud then. Election tabulation problem, machines flipping votes. And now we have John Husted, another Secretary of State, same things, uncertified software patches, all kinds of problems in Ohio. We're close in Florida. We got another situation there with Governor Rick Scott. Again, I mean, these guys cannot keep their hands off of the election process.
Look, Wayne, yeah, you're there at the National Press Club, and people are hogging the Wi-Fi. It's usually clear from there. I would like to try your cell phone, but I don't know if that's going to be relayed or we're going to get that number. We've actually got his cell phone number in the computer. It's always good to have a backup number with things like this, and we will see about getting him on. Let's go to a phone call while this is going on. Let's go ahead and talk to Mike in New York. Mike, you're on the air. Welcome. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex. Thanks for having me on.
Sure.
Can you hear me, Alex?
Yeah, they're just messing with Wayne. We'll have to get Wayne on tomorrow. Thanks, guys. I'll let that. Three's the charm. We're done. Okay, go ahead, Mike. You're on the air.
Hi, Alex. Thanks for having me on. Just wanted to make an observation. I've been listening to you for about 9 years now, and I'm more awake than ever. And it's almost scary how much I am awake. And when you're so awake, you can see everything from every angle, and it's just real hard for people to throw one by. And I live in Florida, but I'm up here in New York. This is where I'm originally from, and I've been up here for a few months. And I've been trying to educate my family about this global government, the New World Order, and just everything that's going on that we know is bad, that all your listeners know is real and true. And I actually sat down with my family and had them watch the Obama deception from front to back, and it still amazed me after having intelligent, articulate discussions about the New World Order and about globalization and all the plans, that they would still cower to vote for Mitt Romney and try to persuade me that what I was talking about was wrong, even though I could see it in their eyes, Alex.
Well, that's because it gives them a venue. It gives them a venue to feel like they have power and that something simple can fix things. They don't understand. It was a long, complex rat nest to get here, and it's going to be a long, complex rat nest to get out of this. And, at least they're trying to be involved and trying to be informed. A lot of the population literally can't wait to get 6 feet under. I mean, they don't even know. They can't find their butt with both hands.
Absolutely, Alex. But I just want to tell you, thank you for everything you've done over the last 9 years. I'm going to pledge to you and all your listeners and everybody that's listening, I'm never going to give up, in this fight for truth and reality. I'll never give in to tyranny and oppression. Just, thank you, brother, from the bottom of my heart.
Well, thank you, Mike from New York. Let me ask you one more question. I mean, look, we would already be in a much greater tyranny if people hadn't stood up. I mean, that's the history of civilization, is normal people that just want to live their lives, and control freak criminals that get a propaganda corps and start telling folks how great it is to be slaves. And so without you out there doing what you're doing, we wouldn't even have any future right now. And so as we conduct this filibuster here tonight against tyranny, it is part of engaging the spectacle, engaging the fraud, but actually wading into the stench that we're able to wake people up. There are a lot of people that know what's going on, but they kind of put white gloves on and stay back from it. And it's people like you, Mike, in New York and others around the country that are going to make it or break it. So understand this. Those that criticize those of us that are involved, trying to wake people up and trying to fight tyranny and say, oh, there's no point, oh, you're pathetic, oh, what are you going to do? They don't realize it's those of us out there fighting that are holding all of this back. And the moment we ever give up and give in, you're going to get a Soviet/Nazi type nightmare as fast as you can turn around, because there are millions of parasites and control freaks and dominators and bullies and sickos and filth that has 1,000 different perversions and desires who want to be turned loose through a big government that siphoned off the energy of the good, hardworking people to build these juggernauts of domination. They want to have a heyday on us. And thank God for our forebears in the Second Amendment that we have that bulwark that even if a small percentage ever resists during a true tyranny, we will defeat this enemy. So I salute our forebears. They weren't perfect, but they were heads above other men in history, and so I salute them. But how are things going in your area of New York?
Things are going good. I'm upstate in Albany, so we didn't really get hit by Sandy as much. I have some family down in Breezy Point in Brooklyn who got hit pretty hard, but they're making it through the storms. My cousin down in Brooklyn said that FEMA's not being very cooperative, and they're running real short on supplies, and he's kind of fed up with the whole operation down there. So, basically everything you've already been reporting is obviously accurate. But yeah, that's upstate New York hasn't felt the wrath, just like New York City. God bless that. But Alex, it's amazing to me, and I wonder this all the time, what is it going to take for everybody to truly snap out of it and wake up? Do people truly really need to hit rock bottom? Do they need, I was in the military from 2001 to 2007. I was in the Air Force and went to Iraq and Afghanistan. I've seen war zones with my own eyes, and I can tell everybody that hasn't seen one, believe me, you don't want to see one. It's something you don't want to ever have to experience, but I'm wondering, is that what people have to really experience for that light bulb really to go on? For them to really understand what this is all about. And Alex, I got to tell you, I don't know if that has to happen, but it looks like it may have to happen in order for people to really understand what they're doing. No,
I hear you. And look, Afghans are tough people, as you know. You've been there. I haven't, but I've talked to family that's been there, and I've historically researched it. And Iraqis are pretty tough people. Americans used to be the toughest. I'm not saying Iraqis or Afghans are better than us, but liberty gave us such milk and honey that we've gotten pretty pampered. Can you imagine Americans for years living like Afghans or Iraqis do in war zones? Do you think Americans are going to handle it as well as they do?
As of right now, no, because it would be such a shock. It would be like the analogy of throwing a frog into a boiling pot of water from no water. You can get the frog to die if you just put it in there lukewarm and gradually turn the heat up. But if you just land a shock like that, like if it was all of a sudden just martial law and all of a sudden no food in stores and all of a sudden no supplies anywhere, I don't even want to speculate, Alex, how bad that could actually be. And that's why
exactly, and that's a real possibility now. A depression is a fact. We're in it. The question is, how bad will it get? But a real breakdown is now in the cards. And all I know is, thank God I live in the country and got a pile of ammunition and guns under my butt, and I know how to use them. I feel so bad for people in big compact cities who don't know how to defend themselves. It's a very good chance things are going to get very, very nasty. God bless you, and it's good to hear from you. Great caller there, Mike in New York. Now we have him. Third time's the charm. Joining us from the National Press Club, Wayne Madsen. Wayne, you've got the floor. I'm just going to shut up and let you roll on the election and then give us your take on what really happened in Benghazi and other points for the next 20 minutes. Wayne Madsen and WayneMadsenReports.com joins us, I hope. His cell phone works. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm sorry. We've got a large crowd here, all on their cell phones, chewing up the Wi-Fi here at the National Press Club downtown D.C. But it's very apparent that this was an election that was fraught with problems. Ohio was the Secretary of State Republican John Husted. Real problems with installing uncertified patches to computers, voting computers in 39 Ohio counties. Although Obama's ahead in Ohio right now, who knows? That could change. I think looking at some of the results too, I think the CNN and NBC called South Carolina way too soon. I'm looking at the results there, and what I was saying before, and I probably didn't get this all through, but we had these Christian fundamentalist churches for many, many years told their parishioners, their members, look, Mormonism is a cult. It's a terrible thing. Don't get involved with it. And all of a sudden, their leaders change their mind in this campaign and say, oh, well, Romney, you should vote for him. Bygones be bygones. Billy Graham scrubbed his website, got the cult business off of there about the Mormons. But, I don't think that really sank in, because the voter turnout amongst these individuals, these Christian fundamentalists, evangelicals in South Carolina was very, very low. And now you look at the results in South Carolina, you see a lot of counties where Obama's ahead because of turnout. Now, of course, that's African Americans voting, but you've got a big African American turnout, and you have basically a lot of the white evangelicals that, the heck with it, we're going to stay home. Another thing I've noticed too is the third party candidates being a spoiler, being spoilers in this election. Looking at Maine, where you would think that there might be like libertarian support, I'm not seeing it from the results. I'm seeing maybe maximum 2% going to third parties like Libertarian. The only one I see, one of the southern counties in West Virginia, around 13% for the Libertarian candidate, Gary Johnson.
Sure, let me raise this question. Right now, Romney wins. They're reporting Alabama, Arizona, Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, Kansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Dakota, Nebraska, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, West Virginia. Obama wins. Connecticut wins D.C., Delaware, Illinois, Maryland, Maine, Missouri, New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, Vermont. Trying to remember my abbreviations of states. What's WH? Are they already trying to say Wyoming? What's WH?
Well, they have them, I think, winning Wyoming.
Yeah, so I guess I was right. I'm just going from these abbreviations. But, we're tracking all of this. I mean, it's just like pick your poison. I think 4 more years of Obama, people might actually wake up. There's this thing of putting in Romney. People will go back to sleep for a while, learning the new puppet, the new administration. But then I say, hey, don't let Obama have a second term where he's not facing re-election, has the power of the pardons. I mean, who do you think's really going to win here?
Right now, I think it's way too close to call. I mean, there's no surprises in the states that Romney has won, except I think Virginia. I'm looking at the Virginia results, and Obama's not winning by the large majority that he got in 2008 in Northern Virginia, where you've got a lot of the population. I don't see him, for example, Prince William County, which is part of the D.C. suburbs in Northern Virginia. Romney's ahead there. I believe Obama carried that last time, not by much. But even the numbers in Arlington and Fairfax, it looks like there wasn't a big turnout. Of course, Obama's ahead, but he's not getting the numbers. And I would say that Virginia looks like one state that could go to Romney.
Sure, let me expand on that.
Yeah.
Just like we knew Obama was going to be bad 4 years ago, there's still a secret hope that, well, maybe he'll actually try to be a president and things will get better because, we can all hope. It's the same thing with Romney. I think a lot of Americans are going to vote for Romney just because they're desperately hitting a reset button, kind of like a lot of Republicans voted for Obama. A lot of Democrats are going to end up voting for Romney, but then there's all the fraud involved, so who even knows? But what do you think about that point about just rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic? People are getting desperate here, and I saw the polls. I don't just believe polls, but I looked at a wide spectrum of scientific polls last month. I mean, Romney was winning the popular vote. He was starting to get ahead in some swing states. Then the hurricane came, and suddenly some of those gains were lost. But again, we objectively tend to look at polls and voting numbers as if they're real. You work for the NSA. I mean, you've worked in computer science. You know about election fraud, Wayne. You've talked about it. What do you think the truth is? I mean, in a kingdom of lies, I'm saying the public can't find their butt with both hands. How can anybody find anything in this storm, this fog of war?
Well, I think the fact is that these secretaries of state who are also like heads of their campaigns, the presidential campaigns for their states, I think that's a conflict of interest. I think we have to make the Secretary of State job a nonpartisan position. That we saw what happened with Ken Blackwell in 2004 in Ohio, and the wonderful Catherine Harris. I remember her in Florida in 2000. Both these individuals were officials, co-chairs of the Bush campaign. This job is much too important to have political hacks in there. And as far as these electronic voting machines, these companies that own these, run these machines and run these elections are tied to one particular party for the most part. And we've got one outfit that in Ohio that's very much connected to the intelligence community, to Booz Allen and Hamilton. This company called Seidel, which is actually headquartered in Barcelona, Spain. So what are we doing now? Are we outsourcing our elections overseas. There's got to be a clean. They've got to clean this mess up. They've got to get the political hacks out of these Secretary of State jobs. Just make them nonpartisan and get these private companies out of the picture, because we know how they can throw these elections. And although Ohio, I'm noticing that Obama's still ahead in Ohio, we've seen this kind of thing change. And Florida is going back and forth.
What about delays in New Jersey and New York, and people mailing in their internet ballots or emailing them in, and talk of the election commissions keeping voting going the next few days? I mean, would that, like, we get a close election and suddenly New York or New Jersey's out there contested, or some other state? And then what about all these calls, after you talk about that, for civil unrest? Because we've seen Michael Moore, putting out videos of people saying, if Romney gets elected, we'll burn this mother effer down. Excuse my French. And then we've got in classic race baiting by Bill Maher saying, hey, blacks are going to hunt down whites. I mean, just incredible stuff that is such, that I think is racist towards black people. Having the weird white commentator saying, you go get the whitey, if our guy doesn't get elected, almost like you sick a dog on somebody. And it seems like that's what these poverty pimps on the George Soros bandwagon are doing. What's your take on that?
Well, I think there's, you hear a lot of people here in Washington talk about how politics has just become such a blood sport now that, nobody can get along with the other side. And, they talk about, look, when Lyndon Johnson was president, he was a Democrat committed, but, he got his legislation through by inviting the Senate Minority Leader, Everett Dirksen, up to the White House so they get drunk together, and then they pass legislation, figure out how to get the civil rights and voting rights and all these other bills passed, and that's been largely lost. Even Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill used to get together and cut these deals. Now, I don't see that changing. Whether Romney or Obama is the president for the next 4 years, I think this well is poisoned here. So obviously you're going to get these rhetorical flourishes by people from both sides to, get people all hot under the collar. And but Michael Moore, he's a blowhard. He's trying to expose some things with some of his documentaries. But look, these guys have to remain relevant. Why does Ann Coulter always say these awful things? So she gets invited back onto these programs, because if she doesn't, in a couple of years, she's just going to be considered some has-been in an old bag, and they're not going to care about her anymore. So people have to... So
a lot of it is they just say radical things for attention. All right, I want to give you the floor for the 10 minutes we have or so, and then we're going to get an update from our own David Knight, and also take some phone calls. We're going to open the phone system up again. The number to join us is 877-789-ALEX, 877-789-2539. Have you seen election fraud? Have you seen numbers flipped for Obama or Romney? We'd like to hear your reports here. I think we have Atamako or some. I have to learn how to read English here in a minute. Atamio, we're going to get to him and others here. But I want to give you the floor, Wayne, here for you to give us, because I don't even know what your take is. What is your take on what happened in Benghazi? Was it a hit of the ambassador because he wasn't going along with arms deals to Syria? I had heard this line by people I respect, that it was a neocon hit to embarrass Obama, but now we learn it's 7 hours Obama knew in order to stand down their relieving generals. I don't know what the truth is about this. Wayne, I know you have a lot of sources. What is your breakdown on Benghazi, the upcoming Iran attack, what's happening in Syria that you visited, what's going on in Libya? Give us 10 minutes on your geopolitical breakdown.
Yeah, there's several places around the globe where you look at the U.S. Embassy staff, and normally it's the deputy chief of mission. They wear two hats. Yeah, they're with the State Department. They may be deputy chief of mission. They may be even ambassador. Yet at the same time, they're working for another agency, and we all know who that is. It's the good old Black Knights of the Potomac up in Langley. And I'm looking at Stevens' background. I think it's highly likely that yes, he was an ambassador, but I also think he was acting as a CIA agent over in Benghazi. I think he was definitely involved in, we know, arming the rebels, and there was this attempt, obviously, to buy back or get back these shoulder-launched missiles. And I think Stevens, when they used to throw diplomats out of other countries during the Cold War, they'd say, well, we're throwing out this ambassador or this deputy chief of mission because their activities were not in concert with their diplomatic their diplomatic status, and they were declared persona non grata. And I basically think that whatever Stevens was involved with, it became very well known to these terrorists, these radicals, who he may have been dealing with, that he was more than just an ambassador. I think he was targeted, and I think the reason that the military was told to stand down is, look, the military, we know that stovepiping still goes on between the Pentagon and the CIA. And, you know, if the CIA is up to something, they don't want the military involved. And I think that's what we had in Benghazi. I think this was a CIA operation, and I don't care how many Marines were off the coast. They were not going to be called in. And again, Obama, basically, you know, this gets back to what I wrote. This guy comes from a CIA family. He has a background. He knows when he's responsible for his CIA operation. He's not going to say a word about it. And, you know, he'll remain silent for 7 hours, 8 hours, or, you know, however long it takes. And he'll sandbag the military at the same time. And I think that's what we saw here. So Benghazi, I think, was, we don't know what the details are yet. Obviously, now we know that the Libyan rebels are the biggest source of money and arms for the Syrian rebels. Somebody ought to lose their job over bringing down Gaddafi. He might not have been a great guy, but, you know, he did keep these radical Islamists out of Libya. He tried to tell us, look, why in the world are you supporting Al-Qaeda? These are the guys, you know, that are trying to oust me, and now we've got President Assad in Syria saying the same thing. What are you going to turn over Syria, these guys? It's time to play hardball with the Saudis and the Qataris who support these people. But, Hillary Clinton, she fell in love with these radicals, and I think she has to be called to account. I think this was her operation, and I think she knew darn well that Stevens was wearing two hats, that he was an ambassador, ostensibly and officially a diplomat, but we know many, many places where the ambassadors or the deputy chief of mission is also working for the Central Intelligence Agency.
Well, you know, here's my issue. You're up there in D.C., you're talking to the media and other sources. I mean, I've studied history. I've been on air for 17 years, but I don't think I know a lot. In fact, I know enough to know I don't know much. But it does seem the ruling class is becoming more and more decadent, more and more disconnected from reality. To think that they can, you know, put Al-Qaeda in charge, I'm sure you saw it in the newspapers today, and have Hillary come out and say, we've got to invade Syria because Al-Qaeda's there. When the West on record put them there, and you've recently visited, along with Dr. Tarpley, who's coming up. I mean, sure, even if the brain-dead American people on average are buying that, the rest of the world is saying, who are these lunatics? And I understand they're all up there showing off to each other in D.C. and walking around in the big marble buildings, feeling like they're all Darth Vader. But these guys aren't Darth Vader. Darth Vader isn't real. And I've studied enough history to know that power elites always become megalomaniacs, and then that's right when they fall. I don't care how much Google spying software they've got. I see this whole thing really retrograding, rotting very quickly. Give me your take on on geopolitically where the American empire is.
Well, I'll tell you, I was in Beijing for most of September. I was in China, Beijing, Guangzhou, and I'm talking to Chinese government people, and they were saying, you know, why is Hillary Clinton over here all the time rattling sabers on our borders? And it's quite clear that this pivot to Asia is another attempt to extend or maintain U.S. influence in the Asia-Pacific region. But we can't maintain influence in all these places around the world. We're basically broke. And the Chinese are very well aware of how broke we are because they're holding our debt. And for us to be going over there and supporting Japan, or at least not cracking down on Japan, trying to grab them.
Yeah, what is that about? Japan doesn't do anything it's not told to do by the globalists.
Right.
Why is Japan, I'm not against Japan, I don't have a dog in this fight. Why is Japan picking a fight with China?
Well, it's historical, but also Japan lost its number 2 economic power status to China. China's now the world's second largest economic power. U.S. is still first place. I don't think that's going to hold very long. I think China is well on its way to becoming the largest economic power. But Japan feels like they got bested by the Chinese. And so all these old this enmity that goes back even before World War II. But the other thing is the islands, the Senkakus, as the Japanese call them, the Aous, as the Chinese call them. There's oil and there's natural gas in that area, and this is a fight for energy supplies. Same thing that we see China staking claims in the South China Sea. And why is the United States taking sides? Well, it's the oil companies. The oil companies that this government is beholden to, that, they see, well, look, it's better to make a deal with the Japanese. We get in there, we know them, than seeing a Chinese national oil company start to drill for oil and natural gas in these islands. So that it gets down to the basic common denominator. Oil. Why did we invade Iraq? Oil. Why are we in the Persian Gulf? Oil.
All right, Wayne Madsen, you're saying too close to call. We'll have to watch it throughout the night and tomorrow. Wayne Madsen, WayneMadsenReport.com. Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Okay, watch Florida. There's only about a 2,000 vote difference right now.
What's your gut tell you? I know you don't like to go out on a limb, but I mean, do you think Romney's going to win?
I think we're not going to know till the wee hours of the morning. I think Hawaii will report in for Obama, and we still won't know who won this election. I think we're looking at 7, 8 in the morning, and I'm not even counting court challenges. We could see court challenges in a number of states. Florida, frankly, is as close now as it was in 2000.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree. My gut, just looking at this, says this is going to get drug out for a while.
Yeah, we're not going to know. We're not going to know. I think this is going to be a long night.
Okay, thank you so much, Wayne Madsen.
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, I think we've gotten some of the best info of the night. It's all been excellent with Gerald Celente, Max Keiser, and now, of course, Wayne Madsen. We're going